G'day, good afternoon, good morning. It's Rhetoric here saying hello. Hello. Well, hasn't there been a turn up since last we spoke? Apparently now reform has taken over the world. Listen, I'll hold my hands up. I didn't vote on this occasion again. I say again, I voted last time. I voted for bloody Labour, thinking that they were the only option really at the time. But I'm still undecided, and I didn't want to just lay a vote for the sake of it. And look, I don't know whether or not I will be decided moving forward, because I have no trust in any politician, if I'm brutally honest with you. That's just me personally. I'd like to think that all throughout any of the videos that I've done here, I've not really said that either party is better than the other, and people should vote for a specific party. I've held my hands up and said, I voted for Labour last time because I didn't trust the Tories, and that changed dramatically with the way that Keir Starmer has acted upon in his term, and the lies that I believe have spewed forth from his mouth. I've continued to see the country, in my opinion, spiral out of control, and I've continued to be told that that's not the case, and that I'm an idiot for thinking that, and that regardless of what I can see in front of me, I am wrong. I am wrong. I can see the endless amount of roads that need fixing. I can see the endless amount of education that needs fixing. I can see the prices of things going up continuously. I can see a flip-flop nature within the government. It appears as though there's no real backbone. We're continued, as a taxpayer, we're continued to be bent over and told to think of Britain, think of sunny England, whilst we take it directly and forcefully in the back passage to pay for all these things that don't have an effect on my back pocket. If we were paying for the well-being and the education of our youth and for the betterment of our community and all that sort of stuff, then probably wouldn't have too much of a problem with it. But where it's just a sheer ineptitude in regards to being able to do a simple job, protect the borders, and if we can't protect the borders, have a process in place which doesn't allow absolute and total strangers into the country to then not only be housed and looked after. Look, it's one thing to look after, don't get me wrong. I don't think that if someone tries to break into this country, or someone tries to seek asylum into this country, I don't think for 1 minute that we should just throw them in a horrific cell with no electricity and give them, a crate for bedding. I don't believe that should be the situation. But then also on the flip side of that, I don't believe that we should be bending over as backwards as we are at the moment. I think that's just a byproduct of this really fucked up state that we've gotten ourselves into, and I think we've started to see the example of that. And especially since reform, the interesting thing has been is since reform won all those seats, you then see a lot of these people coming out of the woodwork who are, it's almost like they didn't even believe that reform were going to register a vote. And you see their sheer stupidity with regards to what they believe reform coming into some sort of power. I mean, okay, let's face it, it's just a local election. It's not the general one, so it's not like reform are now in charge of the country. So first and foremost, all these TikToks and stuff like that about how people's rights and and this, that, and the other has been taken away is just sheer ludicrousy and stupidity. And again, that sort of stuff is bubbling up to the surface. People have this conception or preconceived conception that Reform is the Nazi party. It is a party that, if they ever do get into power, that suddenly, that come the next day, that all people of a different sexuality to heterosexuals are going to be captured and put into cells, and anyone that's got a different skin color to white is going to be popped on a boat and just sent in any direction and gotten rid of, and all this sort of stuff. And it's just not accurate, and it's not, I don't even, like I said, I haven't even voted for anyone, and if I'm brutally honest, I think they're all as bad as each other. But what I can't stand is the sheer stupidity of people in our community, that those who look at Reform, and all they do is they regurgitate what they see in some of the mainstream left-winged media, and they just regurgitate it and they amplify it, and that to me is one of the most dangerous things. Whether you like Reform or you don't like Reform, if you don't like Reform, at least have some sort of idea of what it is that they're actually referring to, and why. There seems to be some complete shock in regards to why people voted for them, and why a lot of people have voted for them. The reason why people have voted for them is simple. People in this country no longer want to feel like they're second-class citizens in their own home. It's that simple. And having that feeling doesn't make you a racist. And, I see some people on there that go, we're denying people all the ample things that we've got available to us. We don't have them available to us. We don't live in a land of milk and honey and ample amount of resources and all that sort of stuff. We pay the highest amount of tax going around. We pay the highest amount for energy. Most of our resources are imported. There's not that much that we actually grow and distribute here. That's mainly been to a lot of governments fucking over the farmers. It's not, to say that you're racist because you want to be thought of by the government that are running that country, and for you to be their priority. It's not to say that other people can't be in the government's thoughts. It just feels like at the moment to a lot of people that unless you're coming over here on a rubber dinghy with no passport or anything like that, you don't have access to the immense amount of things that they have access to once they come into this country. And you don't have access to the doctor visits on demand, dentist visits on demand, free travel, discounted outings, the ability to just roam free, have your room and board covered by the taxman, have your foods, 3 meals a day covered by the taxman. If it was the other way around, if every taxpayer here in the UK or indigenous British person was got free rent and free food and all that sort of stuff, then I'm sure things would probably feel a bit different, but it's not the case. So anyway, long story short, it really frustrates me when you see ridiculous arguments and ridiculous things being spouted as facts when they're not facts. I haven't seen, I've seen some people. I saw one TikTok video where someone who was homosexual, was a gay guy, was talking about how he's just going to be drawn and quartered now that Reform are in charge. I mean, where in their policies or where in their manifesto have they said that they're going to arrest and detain and lock up gay men? They have something in their manifesto about transgender women and how that, as per the legal findings, that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and there shouldn't be instances whereby in a woman's space or a women's space, someone who was originally biologically a man, because for the bulk part of it, based on a lot of the feedback that are coming through from women, that they don't feel comfortable in those situations. So in that situation, they have something in their policy in regards to that, which to me, is, I mean, show me the non-common sense part of that part, but also show me the part in that policy that says that if you're a gay male, that you're going to be locked up and sent to prison. Does that make any sense? It just seems like the left. I mean, look, and I appreciate it's not all the left. I know it's not all the left. It is a small, minute amount of people on the left who take to social media to do, who've all got really short fringes, or maybe their hair dyed, or something like that, or maybe got a couple of nose rings and stuff like that. And they take to social media, and they take to TikTok, and they do like little videos where they lip sync to pre-existed theme, because they don't have the brain capacity to actually form opinions themselves, or actually come up with anything themselves. They can only get their message across if they're copying someone else doing something. But it's just, it could not be further from the truth. And again, I say this by saying, I didn't vote reform. I didn't vote anyone, because I don't trust either of them, or any of them, or all of them. However, I don't believe, whilst I think there's a lot of things in reform that need to be addressed, and need to be fixed, and need to be, or that I don't necessarily agree with, I think there's some absolute 100% falsehoods being spewed out by people who are, claiming to be, and look, maybe it's just attention seeking. Maybe it's just, I haven't done some content for 3 hours, I need to do something. Oh, reform's just won a seat of, this, that, and the other. Oh, I should get on TikTok, this will get me some views. I don't know if it's that, who knows. But long story short, I find it frustrating when there's no accountability for the statements that people are making. And look, I'll tell you another thing that, I'll round it off with this, but I won't go too deeply into it, because I'll be brutally honest with you, I don't know the full facts of it, right? But this Palestine thing, right? I was watching morning TV today. I think it was the Jeremy Vine show, and you had one of the, you always have people from left, people from the right, and they never really have a debate about things. They always just try to scream louder than each other and disagree with each other, and they don't actually, really identify what it is that they're talking about. It's just a bit of a, they bring up a topic, and then they yell at each other for 2 minutes about it, and then they move on to something else. But the lady that was on today's Jeremy Vine show, I think his name's Jeremy Vine. Well, you know who it is, Vine. She kept talking about, this atrocity that's going on in Palestine, and the how it's a massacre, and how there's babies and women dying and all this sort of stuff, and that apparently there's a ceasefire and all this sort of stuff, but Israel aren't. I think they were talking about the Eurovision. They were talking about how some countries are abstaining from Eurovision this year in protest for Israel, because they don't understand why Israel are in the Eurovision when Russia is. And look, I'll probably make a separate video about this, but I think the two things are slightly different. I think Russia invaded the country. It was unprovocated. They've invaded the country. It's been 2 years of war. They've had ample occasions to try to come up with some sort of truce or peace, but they've decided not to. And so on that basis, I appreciate that Russia isn't in the Eurovision. Israel, do I think that the way that they're managing the situation at the moment, do I think that they're managing it well? Probably not. Do I think that's a reflection of the people or the government? I think it's a reflection of the government, not the people. Do I believe that at least this current iteration was based on an attack from the Palestinians, from Hamas. Yes, it was because of the situation that happened at the music festival that this has occurred. So I think it's totally separate things. And look, in regards to what's going on at the moment, she continued to spout out this. What I'm fearful of is it's quite easy to sit on television and say that there are women and there are babies dying on a daily basis, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are dying at the hands of Israel. I don't know whether that's true or false, but I would like to think that if that was true, that there would be a lot more media coverage of that at the moment. And I guess where I struggle to believe it, and what I'm scared of happening, is I'm scared of it's easy to be able to just go on television and make those kinds of statements and have people buy into that because you're on television, and as we've seen with the lefties at the moment, they just regurgitate information and sound bites that they see on television because they're at home, they don't have jobs, and they watch morning TV. So I think it's very dangerous when what are the facts for those statements? If that is actually happening, and if that is if the IDF, if the IDF is specifically going out there and looking for Palestinians and shooting the women and children, then yes, that is atrocious, and that shouldn't be happening, and we should do something about it. But if there's no, I need to see the evidence of it. I don't need someone just telling me that something's happening. I need to see that it's happening before I believe that it's happening. And because what I'm scared of, and we've seen this happen on many occasions, Black Lives Matter, you have institutions and people that come out and they claim that they're doing things and that there is an issue going on, where really behind the scenes they're just reaping all the benefits, reaping all the monetary values of it. Another donations come through. All this country's now got behind it. All people are bending over, knee, yep, hand in the air, yep, that's great. How much more sponsorship can you get? Well, we've got, Black Lives do matter. So if you're not racist, then you need to support this charity organization, which then, as we've since found out, was a complete farce and scam. So I'm under the belief that now with this ceasefire of sorts, that there are journalists on the ground, there are people over there. I think I tried to fact check it with AI. AI said that there was a couple of neutral bodies, but also there was there was a Palestinian organization that was releasing information in regards to numbers of people killed. And again, I question that in the sense of, if that is controlled by Hamas, and Hamas are trying to garner favor and garner, whip up this rally and this support for Palestine, then again, how much can I take into account the numbers that they're giving us? It's difficult. I don't know. I don't know how much to give credence to if they tell me that 1,000 people were killed today at the hands of Israeli. Is that factual? Is that who were these 1,000 people? Who were they? Where are their families? Where are the streets full of mourners? Where are the people over in Palestine? Where are they protesting? Where are they marching? What are they trying to do to fix their country or protect their country or protect their space or anything like that? Because I don't see any of that. I'm only just going by you telling me that 1,000 people apparently today were killed at the hands of Israelis. But I know that you don't like Israelis and you don't want me to like Israelis. So are you just throwing a number out, hoping that I'll then support you? Does that make sense? Anyway, look, that's just a little bit of ramblings. It's a really tough one, this current situation, and I don't know really what to wrap it under. I didn't really have an idea for what this video was going to be, but it's just more of a commentary on how dangerous I think society is getting with regards to the fact that everyone and anyone has got a platform now to spew statements and facts, I say in quotation marks, And, you know, even this station, you know, even this channel now, even though it'll probably only be seen by 10 or 15 people, but, you know, I've got the potential to say, oh, vote, I don't know, Labour. They're a great governmentary party. They've really got their hand firmly on the wheel, and you know, if you don't vote Labour, you'd have to be an idiot not to vote Labour, and you'd be cuckoo, or you'd be a racist not to vote Labour. You know, I could potentially say something like that on this platform, and probably get away with it. But, you know, and that in itself is quite a dangerous thing. So I don't know how we fix that. I don't know how we come back to, and, you know, maybe we were never there to begin with, but I don't know how we get to just making informed decisions based on factual information. And I don't know how we get to a point where we can just have a calm, intelligent discussion so that we could set records straight, whether it be anything to do with Palestine, whether it be anything to do with the UK, whether it be anything to do with immigration, the state of this country, the economy, all that sort of stuff. I don't feel like there's a platform whereby we can have just a calm, intellectual conversation, and, you know, with the mind of trying to come up with some solutions, rather than just using platforms as a platform to big ourselves up, or to big up the things that we want bigged up because they'll benefit us. You know, if I want to, you know, throw shit at another political party or something like that because I know that that will potentially give my party more votes, then I'll do that. You know, and I feel like we're in that situation, as opposed to just going, you know, acknowledging the fact that there's another political party, maybe finding out what things that political party are saying and doing that is resonating with people, and maybe saying, well, geez, if that's resonating with people, maybe people have a concern about that. So if I'm currently in power, what can I do to address that concern? What am I not doing that's not allowing them to feel at ease, or feel like they need to perhaps either listen or vote somewhere else? You know, it's not, to me, it's not rocket science. To me, that just seems like common sense. And I feel like the common sense side of it has sort of gone out the window of late. And I think Reform winning, you know, a lot of those local seats has brought to the surface a lot of people who I just don't understand how they function in society, being so susceptible. I can't even say the word. Susceptible. You know what I'm trying to say. To, I don't know, either fake news or not even just fake news, but just not really understanding what it is that they're upset about and the reality of the situation. Like I said before, you know, a gay bloke, there's nothing in the Reform manifesto saying that gay blokes will be locked up and put in prison. Yet someone's taken to TikTok saying, well, looks like that's me going off to prison then, because I'm a gay male. I'm a gay male. Oh, does it? Was that part of Reform's campaign? Did I miss that? And again, I preface this by saying I didn't vote for Reform. So, you know. Anyway, this is Roger Roadside. A little bit more of a, I don't know, this is a directionalist video, but it's a little bit of ramblings. But, you know, I'd love to hear if you feel the same way, if you think we're going down a bit of a spiral. You know, I'd love to sort of hear what your thoughts are. Make sure you get your comments down below. Really like your support. Make sure you like the video and share it. That'd be great. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Appreciate you all. This is Roger Roadside saying ciao for now. Ciao.